Welcome to creating custom reusable widgets in Flutter. You might have heard this or read this at least once, that everything is a widget. This sentence is like a mantra for Flutter developers. Creating and reusing custom widget is the basic knowledge every Flutter developer should have, as this helps in reusing the code and have a better structure to your project, which is good for speeding up the development process and also easier to maintain the code. This course was recorded with Dart 2.8, which was before the adaptation of null safety. Now Dart and Flutter has come a long way. With Dart 2.18 and Flutter 3.3, a lot has changed in the Flutter domain. Luckily, the core concepts of extracting and reusing the widgets are still the same. So what has changed? In this course, you have to keep in mind about null safety. With null safety, you can make a variable as optional variable or a required variable. The use of final and const keyword while declaring a variable or using a widget. With Dart 2.18, some of the lint rules are also updated. Everything is explained in the author notes for each episode, so do read them. We made sure everything is working 100% and is as per the new Flutter rules. With that, enjoy the excellent course on creating custom reusable widgets in Flutter.
You've probably heard what I'm about to say right now a million times. You've read it in every Flutter article, heard it on videos, and even in the Flutter documentation. In Flutter, everything is a widget. Now that I've displayed my allegiance to the Flutter community once more, wouldn't it be nice to know how to make your own custom widgets? Okay, I know you've created your own custom widgets a dozen times, but wouldn't it be awesome to know how to make those widgets reusable? With reusable widgets, you don't need to copy and paste portions of the same code in different places. This is not a scalable approach because a slight change in requirements would make you update a piece of code multiple places. We'll be making use of the DRY principle, which stands for Don't Repeat Yourself. With custom reusable widgets, you could create or refactor portions of your code which could be reused by other parts of your app or which could be shared to the world as a package. Speaking of refactoring, as you might have known by now, Flutter's UI approach for laying out widgets uses the concept of composition. And this means that widgets are composed of other widgets, and this creates a tree-like structure. If you think about this, the widget tree can be very long with many nested code. We could extract portions into smaller widgets to make our code base more readable. Let's see how to do that. Open up the starter project for this episode inside Android Studio. Head over to the popspec.yaml file and do a pop-get to get the required packages. Then go ahead and run it in debug mode if you haven't. The sample project is a podcast app that lets you listen to yoga and wellness related topics. The starter project already includes some code that takes care of some functionalities that we don't need to worry about. And that's why we got the underlying packages we needed for this. Now open up the about screen.dat file. As you can see, this widget is composed of other widgets. This screen could grow larger than this when we add more widgets, and this could lead to having more nested widgets. To help me out, I added some comments to let me differentiate the start of the UI portion. This is not the best approach. We could simply extract the portions to a separate widget. But before we do that, we need to group this section into different columns. So I'll select the first portion, then press Alt-Enter on Windows or Option Return on your Mac. This opens up the Flutter Fix menu. Then I'll select Wrap with Column. Next, place your cursor on the column widget, then right-click to show the context menu. Then choose Refactor, Extract, then Extract Flutter Widgets. This is the Overview section, so I'll name it App Overview. The Flutter plugin in Android Studio automatically created a new widget from the column and its descendants. The app overview widget is now a custom widget. We'll be using this technique to refactor out reusable portions of our code base as we proceed in this course. Let's go ahead and extract other portions. Now, we have an easy to read about widget, which contains other custom widgets we just created. If you noticed, right below the extract Flutter widget option, we have the extract method. This option extracts the portion of code into a method instead of a widget class. This is also fine, but extracting to a widget has some advantages over extracting to a method. But the main advantage for us here is that we can reuse extracted widgets inside other widgets. We'll be using a mix of the two approaches in this course. There are different ways we could create custom widgets in Flutter. We could do that either by composing existing widgets to build more complex widgets. But if the widget in the Flutter library can't achieve the UI we want, then we could draw it on the canvas using the custom painter class. Then if we really want to go low level and create a custom widget like how the Flutter framework does, then you could make yours using the render objects. We'll be focusing on the easiest approach in this course, and that's composing already made Flutter widgets to create our own custom widgets. To do this, we'll be taking the following steps. Let's start working on the first 4 steps in the next episode.